committee meeting to order. Ask Mr. Baker if you do the invocation. Hang on just a minute. I need the roll call first. Robbie, would you do that?
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Chris Soap.
Here.
Buell Anglin.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Julia Coates. Bradley Cobb. Joe Crittenden. Jody Fishinghawk.
Here.
Meredith Fraley. Janelle Fulbright.
Here.
Don Garvin.
Aye.
Tina Gloria Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snow.
Here.
David Thornton. Kara Cowan Watts.
Honey.
Now, Mr. Baker, would you do the invocation?
The elder, Mr. Baker.
This Baker here.
Okay. Our gracious Heavenly Father, let's thank you for this day, and keep in mind our troops overseas and keep them out of harm's way, and lay on the hearts of each and every council person here so that they might see your light and do your work for the people of the Cherokee Nation. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Next, we have the approval of minutes for the April 15th regular session.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. I'm going to go into reports. Don't see anybody that we don't know in the audience, so we won't go through that. Come on up, Norman. And I see Norman has furnished a written report, but Norman, I'd like to give you the opportunity to make any announcements or to show us any highlights in your reports, if you would, and anybody has any questions, we'll get to those.
I really don't have much this morning other than my report. I will bring you up to date just a little bit on the hiring of cooks for some of our various sites. We have 2 cooks that we are ready to hire, one at Marble City, one at Tailholt. We're pending getting all of their HR documents in, drug testing, and if everything goes well on those reports, then they'll be hired. Marble City we hope to have in place by next Monday, and that may be the hire date, not their start date, okay? And then the hire date would be for Tailholt 5/27. We do have a person from the Bartlesville area that we've identified, and we're not as far along on them, but we have made our first selections. Wanted to brag on my ICW staff that took first place in one of the divisions at the Strawberry Festival on Saturday. So, yeah. So other than that, we remain real busy. We are started with our transition with the rental assistance program, came over on the 1st, and so we're trying to get everybody the equipment they need and learn that program. And we have some new staff that started. Very pleased with all of the staff. Those that came over and our new hires seem to be very dedicated and working hard. So,
Chris Soap has a question.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Have you noticed, or would you say that your referrals have been pretty much consistent, or are you seeing an increase in the number of referrals that you're receiving or requests for assistance?
due to the economy.
Just that in general, or whatever. I'm just curious if you're seeing any kind of.
I haven't really had those reports verbally. My reports for the past month are just coming in, and I suspect that will be the one that really tells us. I think this last month and a half, well, I can tell you that the outpost jumped 15 cents since yesterday in the price of gas. So I think this past month and a half, 45 days have really been a tough one. So I do expect that, absolutely. We're hearing of people quitting their jobs because they can't afford to drive there. I've even heard that some Cherokee Nation employees have done that. I don't know anyone personally, but I'm hearing that kind of thing going through the halls.
Okay, that is good.
Chair recognizes Councilor Baker.
You say you're in the transition. Do we have 90-day vouchers?
Well, we're trying to work that out. I'll be very honest with you. Some places were, some of the area offices were doing 90-day vouchers and some weren't. We're trying to be consistent across the areas, and we're trying to get a handle on exactly what each area did, why they did it, trying to figure out which is the best. I will tell you that's taking some time to do. It was hard to have some of the communication. I'll be honest with you, we didn't always know the questions to ask before folks came over because we didn't know the program that well. And you've really got to get it in your house and see how it works. So we are having those conversations. We're also looking at inspections because we found that the inspections in different areas, each inspector kind of did his own thing. We don't want that to happen. We want the inspections there to be a standard for how we operate in all of the areas. So we're trying to pull those things together, and we're not making any changes in the program. We're not going to rush into that, but there will be probably some changes.
But being transitioned doesn't mean we're not doing anything right now.
No, it just means the people just came over. They came over actually on the first they were in orientation all day, and the second we had them in our training all day. So
And where are they housed now?
they are housed in the Human Services offices. They have moved out of the HACN area offices into the social service offices in Tahlequah, Salisaw, Jay, and we moved them from Claremore because I have no offices there to Catoosa, because that's where we have our human services offices in Catoosa, which is about 7 to 8 miles from the Claremore office.
Councilor Snell.
Norma, I had a gentleman yesterday, I think, asked me, said, are we getting propane this summer? And I said, well, I think. So he wanted to know when to expect that.
What Jerry's doing right now is trying to determine, it'll probably be kind of later on in the summer, when's going to be the most opportune time for us to buy that propane, whether it's July or August, because that was the whole intent, is to get a better price. So we'll probably be monitoring that pretty closely and trying to make an educated guesstimate of when to pull the trigger, so to speak, and get those checks out. The good news is that it's not going to be as difficult as our regular appropriations out to folks, because we're going to use the list of people who received LIHEAP this past December, January, and February. We're not going to redo those applications. So we'll just merely have to mail them out. We won't have to have everybody coming back in. Such a short time will have passed that we feel like we can go with most of those people are on fixed incomes. It'll be the elderly and disabled. So I would say late summer, yeah. Probably sometime in August at the latest.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we'll have more information for you as we get closer to that time.
Councilor Jordan.
Norma, earlier we talked about the possibility of establishing a mass transit system. I believe Councilman Buzzard had suggested that early on 3 or 4 months ago. Is there still a thought that maybe we could get that up and going to help the people that don't have the gas money to get back and forth to work?
I'll tell you, and I'm not trying to pass the buck, but I believe Charlie and some of Charlie's staff, he was here just a minute ago, have taken the lead on that.
The last I remember, Charlie's department had $100,000 set aside for that, and I think they were going to look at purchasing some vans and stuff like that. But we'll get to that here in a little bit if you want to.
In my shop, we're looking at a proposal to SBC to do a pilot project on some help with transportation. I have no idea if that's going to go or not, but we're just in the works. I mean, everybody is so aware of that. And I know there's been discussion about some of the larger companies starting to run bus routes with certain pickup points. I can't tell you exactly who that is, but I've heard Diane Kelly talk about that. She seems to be more aware of those. So it looks like a lot of the companies, manufacturing companies, Tyson's, people like that are knowing they're going to lose staff if they don't do something like that. So
Yes, go ahead.
Did we ever determine whether PEG's nutrition program qualified for our assistance?
I've talked to Lisa about that, and I'm sorry, I just can't recall our last conversation. I think it was a matter of they're contacting her. She was.
Can we follow up on that? So
Sure, sure.
If we need to just get the two groups together, I want to do that because they've inquired again about assistance.
I know she's had contact with them.
I think
I
it's
can't
been-
remember when.
I think because of things being a little harder out in the economy, they're seeing more people come in now.
Oh, probably.
For the new deal. So maybe we just need to put them together.
Okay. I'll just ask her
You'll
to
just
make
email
another.
me.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be glad to. I'll have her. Maybe instead of being the go-between, one of us will get back
Okay.
with you.
Thank you.
Councilor Hosmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Mary, with respect to the summer propane, you just talked about, if a person didn't apply, that's otherwise eligible this summer, they will not be eligible for the summer propane. Is that correct?
I'm not going to say absolutely because I'm going to have Jerry look at those figures. It's probably going to depend on the cost of the propane, how much money we have, and how many people apply at that time. I suspect if we have any extra, we might be able to do some things. But I don't anticipate we'll do an overall campaign to recruit because I don't know that we have that kind of funds. And
So the application will be sent to those who had already applied and successfully.
we're not even going to do an application. If their applications were active at the first of the year and approved and they received a check, the elder and disabled, now not any other group, but the elder and disabled should get a check.
I have one in my district that fits both those criteria, but he didn't apply in the winter, and so I think he may not be eligible based on what you're saying. I understand that
But it would be for the fall. I mean, that's just that summer situation.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just saying for the summer though,
Right.
I should not expect that he would be eligible.
I would not make any promises, no, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilor Baker.
But, Charles, we're going to plug in all the folks that applied last year, and we're going to buy theirs early.
I see.
But all that's going to do is leave us more money to
I see.
help him when he applies next year, and God willing, he'll be on the next year in the automatic program.
Yeah, and hopefully you won't need much propane this summer, but, so.
Chair recognizes Councilor Baker.
Yes. Will the checks be sent out to the individuals or to the propane companies?
Usually we try to do it to the vendor,
Okay.
the propane
So I just want to
company.
be sure that money was being used to purchase the propane. and
Right,
just being sent to
exactly.
be able to spend for
We do
whatever.
too. We don't like to do it the other way.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions for Norman? Okay. Thank you, Norman.
Thank you.
Next, we have Community Services. Somebody going to represent, Brian, are you going to do that? I believe that the reports were mailed out to us by email. I don't see one in our packet here, but yes, Mr. Baker.
Yeah, on the self-help housing, over the last month or two, I've had some phone calls saying that they're waiting to release the funds for them to be able to start.
Okay. No, that's not so much the funding. The funding is there. What we are waiting is the policies and procedures to be finalized, and we will go from there. They are in the final stages, and I'm I'm hoping that'll be pretty quick.
Who's writing the policies and procedures?
We've got the policies and procedures written. We're just waiting on the final signatures at the moment.
Okay, so those people that have been waiting since January might start hearing
Yes, yes.
pretty quick?
And if you'll tell them to give me a call, or, I welcome all calls by all means, and that's exactly what I tell them also.
Okay.
As soon as we get the policies and procedures, then we're going to begin. We've started doing evaluations and we started doing the things that cost very minimal, and that way we could be somewhat ahead of the game whenever we do get the green light on the project.
So we're just going to start out with how many?
We've got 10 site evaluations complete, and that's what we're looking at this point. Overall housing, you're looking at, we have 28 within one budget, and then we have right at 20 with another, so we're going to try to run them side by side, so we should have plenty of houses going within the next 7 months or so.
Brian, at our next committee meeting, can you, if the policies are not completed, can you find out where they're hung up at?
Yes, sir.
So they're not there by the next committee meeting, because I think those policies were turned in like last October or November, if I remember right.
Yeah, so we've, yes, I can do that.
And if we got money sitting here waiting for people to get home, well, I don't know why we're waiting so long on policies to be put out. So if you would make a note of that and find out where those policies are hung up at. I have a question for you, Brian. Is on the report, it said something about the housing program and hired an engineering firm to do structural engineering on the panels. Is that what was the reason for that?
I'm sorry, I missed.
I don't have the report with me, but I remember reading in there, it said that I believe they were going to get an engineering firm to take a look at the structural panels, and I was wondering, why that was, or what are we doing here?
Oh, okay. What they were looking at there was, we had an engineering firm because we had some different ideas of actually putting the panels up a little quicker,
I see.
and we was looking at some different techniques.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe we were going to go out and start selling them commercially.
Not at this point. Now, they are doing they are starting a study
Yes.
to see if it's a feasibility study to see if it would work or if it wouldn't work.
I think it's a good idea. Councilor Christensen?
Oh, I was just going to address what you said. CND, Brad Carson had somebody call me from up there to talk to me about that, because I had gotten with him on maybe doing it for a business, start selling SIP panels and produce them, because they wanted so many places. I think our guys get stocked all the time.
Yeah, we do, actually.
When you get them, you want to buy them. And I think CND's studying it right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Any more questions for Brian? Brian, you have any announcements or anything else that you want to bring forward?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. Okay. Hang on. Mr. Crittenden.
Sorry about that.
Yes, we haven't sold those to anybody, retail or whatever.
No,
to
sir.
this point? Okay.
No, sir. No one.
Okay. Ms. Fishman.
People out of Daylight Hall, they said something to me the other day about cactus.
That's Terry Bunch. Is that correct? Oh. I wouldn't. I apologize about that.
I was just
yeah.
telling you before I forgot.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Brian. John, we'll get to your resolution here in just a minute. Next on the agenda is housing services. I believe we had the report in our packet.
And David had me,
Yeah,
he
you
wanted
want to
me to
hand
bring
those out?
this out. It's on the Warren Act. This had to get on to Shelley, but
She's Shelley today.
yeah, looks like it.
And you're
How are you
David.
doing? Yeah, I'm David.
Good morning.
A great improvement.
Yeah.
We have the report, but I'd also like to give you an opportunity to give us some highlights of the program. And then I think Councilor Jordan had questions on this, and we can get into that in just a little bit. But anything you want to tell us?
No, we're in the middle of, we're transitioned, so still got a lot of things to do, but I think it's working out well.
Okay, Councilor Baker.
You probably need to get some new ink.
I noticed that. I didn't see those until I got here, and I'm looking on, these didn't print off very well, so I'll have somebody recopy this and get those back out to you, those pages that are
Just
bad.
one good one, and then we can run them here, I think.
Okay. This one looks better. It's like pages 4 through, I don't know why the one I have is,
Well, the majority of mine,
this one looks good.
Okay, trade you.
Yeah, I think this one looks, I looked at a couple while ago and they were bad. So I just didn't think they were all bad.
Oh, yeah, this is.
That one's not, yeah, you can read that one. So you think you all can make copies here?
Just in pages.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Can you give us a real quick briefing of this? Are you familiar with it enough to do that with?
No. David will have to do that. If you have questions on it, you have to call him and ask him.
Okay, Councilor Hoskin.
Well, that probably cuts off my question, but the report concludes that the WARN Act was not implemented.
Does not apply. Mhm.
And does the report also conclude that COBRA didn't attach to the separation of these employees? I mean, I know I can read it, I know you can read it, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but that's, I think, a big concern is employees who separated and for whatever reason.
Yeah, David said if you had any questions, call him. I'm sorry, but...
It's okay, I understand.
I guess we'll call David.
Sounds like a good idea.
I have one question.
Okay.
You have $750,000 from non-federal to use as the premium payment for the Community Shield program. Are you saying $750,000? Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay.
We pay that premium. Those policies are due March 1, and we
Okay.
always pay those premiums, and then the people during the year pay us
Reimburse
back.
it.
Yes.
I see. Okay. All right. Any more questions? Councilor Fishing.
Yeah, I'm one of them that asked last month about the 12 employees in the COBRA because they're not going to have insurance, and that concerns me.
Mhm.
And I think it had to be one of you two that asked for the legal opinion. Did he send it?
Yeah, I asked for the legal opinion that they base their information on.
Is that in...
I don't think that's what.
I don't know that there was a legal opinion in here.
Well, he said that he had gotten a legal opinion, and I was about to say that's what I was wondering if
Okay.
he sent it with you.
Mary, why don't you just tell him to forward the legal opinion to us then?
Okay.
Because I think what he's provided us is a copy of the act. I don't think this part applies to COBRA though. And
Well, I see Diane in the audience. Diane, have you had a chance to look at an opinion on the WARN Act?
I have not, and I don't think it was anybody in my office that did it, although I'm not completely sure. I think it must have been outside counsel for the Housing Authority. Mary, do you know? So if I could get a copy of it too.
Diane, it
I haven't
says
seen
that,
it.
it says Cherokee Nation.
I saw that, Counsel.
Well,
It
Mary,
could
I
have been
was-
somebody in my in my office, but I don't really think it was. I think I would have known.
we'd like for David to get an attorney's opinion on that and mail it out as soon as he can. I
Okay.
hate to wait another month to get the opinion on the thing. So
Okay.
if he would just email it out to Councilor Glory, then she can just...
Well, we probably don't need an opinion after the fact. I mean, we just need the one that was used before because it won't help us now.
Okay.
If he has the one before, that's the one we're going to need.
Okay, all right.
Okay. The one in December or...
One we relied on, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
the
I
one
think,
we relied on.
Mr. Chair, I think the whole point is on what basis did the administration act, not after the fact did we do it right. And I'm not unloading on you, but I think it ought to be crystal clear to the administration that we want to know, did they check things out before they leaved? And so that's what we're looking for, not an after the fact analysis. So I
Okay.
just hope Mr. Sutherland understands that.
Okay.
Okay, one more question.
And actually, and Chuck, you correct me if I'm wrong, it really won't be admin, it's going to be the Housing Authority Board that acted
That's true. I'd agree with that.
in reliance upon whatever opinion they got.
But I think, just as a matter of due diligence, the administration surely wouldn't have taken that same leap without some assurances that they weren't running afoul of the WARN Act and they were complying with requirements of COBRA. So, but certainly from the Housing Authority, but I'd say both.
Mary, if you would, then get the opinion and send it out to us, okay?
I'll let them know.
Any more questions for housing? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the old business, and I don't see any, so we're going to move on to new business. And John, I believe you're up next on the new business for this resolution. The resolution authorizing the submission of a fiscal year 2008 Indian Community Development Block Grant to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And I understand, John, that there was some language that needed to be changed just a little bit in that.
Yes,
And you might, if you would, and if you know, break it down as to what you're doing with the grant.
Sure. We're applying for ICDBG grant HUD, and there's language. The fifth whereas, we changed it from public service to we're going to change that to say public service and improvement projects. And also be resolved by the Cherokee Nation. We're going to change that to same, put that same language in there to replace the community facilities. And we're adding the final, be it finally resolved. There's a language that has to be in there for public service notice, and you have to do it in the resolution form. We're announcing to the public that we're applying for a grant to the ICDBG, and we have to put a resolution form.
Do you have that? Do you have that marked up there, John? You gave us quite a bit. And I didn't get it all down.
Okay, the fifth whereas.
Okay, read it real slow and just put what you're striking and what you're putting in.
Okay, we're striking public facilities.
Well, I don't see that.
Sorry. Community facilities activities.
Okay.
Replace it with public facilities and improvement projects.
Public facilities and improvement projects?
Yes. And where it says be resolved by Cherokee Nation, probably 1 to 3rd line says community facilities, replace that same language, public facilities and improvement projects.
Okay.
Then we're adding, be it finally resolved,
Okay.
that it certifies that the Cherokee Nation has met the requirements of 24 CFR 1003.604, A and B regarding citizens' participation.
Okay. Did you get that wrong?
And I have a copy of for y'all.
Okay. We'll take the copy.
Is that still given for you?
Huh?
Is that still given for you?
And we're asking for a match, 25% or more. We get the maximum points. We're asking $270,000 for travel match.
And I believe the tribal match is already in there, isn't it?
Yes.
Go ahead and can you break that down a little bit more, John, as far as you're asking for $800,000?
$800,000 for leach water line.
Well, I thought the total was $800,000 and you were asking for $680,000 for that water line up there.
Total $800,000, and 15% is going public service.
Okay.
There'll be $120,000.
Right.
and the water line will be 680,000.
680,000. Okay. All right, I think we've got it all down, so I'm going to ask if somebody would make a motion to approve.
Move this to executive finance, or well, you've already got the money, right? Move to approve.
Second. Got a motion to approve in a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Already got the money. Okay.
That actually concludes our community service meeting, but I just want to bring this up for this committee to be aware of. I've had a call from a manager over on Cherokee County Rural Water District 8, and this is a water line that was put in back in the early 80s, I think in 1983, 84. Briggs. And they're having a lot of problems with the water line out there. Apparently they're losing 65% of the water. They're buying 5 million gallons, and I think they've got a 62% loss on it. And what the manager is saying is they just leaks all over the place, and when it was installed, it wasn't bedded correctly. That's basically what he's telling me. He hasn't come and asked me for any money, but what I want to do is make sure the council is aware of what Briggs is facing out there, because we have a lot of Indian folks that live out in that area. What I'd ask him to do is get with community services, that's Charlie Stope and Billy Hicks' department, and make some recommendations on what needs to be done out there. I don't feel like that we need to get into the granting dollars on this account, but they need to come up with a solution on the thing, or at least make some recommendations on it. Mr. Baker.
Yeah, and just a footnote of history. This was the first Cherokee Nation self-help water line that they put in back in, like I say, the early 80s. And the people got out, they helped, dig it, they helped put it in. What they failed to do was bed the pipe. The PVC was relatively new, and they were supposed to really do this, that, and the other. But between the flint rock and the shale, it has literally sheared holes through this pipe as it would move and all. So it is a traditionally and heavily populated Cherokee community, but unfortunately most of the grant dollars are attached to water lines where they have no water, and they have water, but they're about to go under because of the they're buying 5 million gallons and selling 1.8 or 9 million gallons, and it just they just can't sustain those kinds of losses and still keep afloat. But hopefully we can come up with some kind of help.
Did they say what the price tag is? I know you're not asking.
Yeah, I think it was a little over $2 million, $2,018,000. Councilor Jordan.
Now, does that include the Welling part or just the Briggs part?
This is just the Briggs part.
Okay, because Welling has the same situation. They were put in at the same time. I think, formed those water districts for Cherokee Nation, and I believe they were put in at the same time. But also, Harley, a lot of their water loss was on the bridge.
And they've addressed that. I think it was like
and I think I think the bridge part would be part of this, if I'm not mistaken.
Because they've got a meter on each side of the bridge,
right.
And I know they tried to get me to work for them a couple of years ago, or at least one of those districts asked me to come back, and at that time they had a tremendous water loss between the meter on this side and the meter on the other side, and they were sharing in the two water districts were sharing in the loss.
And I think they fixed it at one time, so apparently it's sprung another leak in there. It's not a great big loss, but what I'll do is I'll have Robin make copies of this and pass them out to the tribal council members, so we'll all know what they're talking about.
And I guess the point I was trying to get to is if we help Briggs, which I sure hope we will, Welling will be here at your door too, because they've got the same situation, same problem, and they're right there together.
And just what, reinforcing what Mr. Baker had said, that any grant processes is almost, we may be able to get some through our water and sanitation program, but usually when you have existing water, already have waters, you get so many points and you get no points really, because those grants are for people that don't have water, so it's going to be a little difficult to get any grants on that. But anyway, Mr. George had called me about it, and I told him I'd bring it up to let everyone know, so I'll ask Robbie to give a report to you, and then we'll take it from there. But I would like to have Community Services take a look at this and maybe come up with some recommendations and actually let them take the lead on getting that for now. But keep it in mind, that this is a problem out here for a lot of our Indian folks here in Cherokee County. Do we have any announcements for the meeting? Mr. Garvin.
Mr. Evans reported that Raising Shelley's not here. Her father's real ill, so be in prayer for Shelley Litton's father.
Okay, thank you for that. Anybody else? If I hear a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you all for coming.
All right.